10 of One Man's Opinion. Today I am reviewing TheaterWorks Hartford's production of Lynn Nottage's CLYDE'S, directed by Mikael Burke, running through August 5th at TheaterWorks Hartford at 233 Pearl Street in Hartford, Connecticut. Well, the devil came down to Hartford and, well, the devil was unfortunately not as scary as I was hoping. It's a double-edged sword, having seen and reviewed a Broadway production and then reviewing it regionally so quickly after its Broadway run, because it's still fresh in one's mind to measure it against. TheaterWorks Hartford is the perfect example of this. Their general mission is to produce new and recently new plays and musicals. When I saw American Son on Broadway, I was generally nonplussed by it, but when TheaterWorks Hartford produced it, my mind was totally changed. It was a far better show than the Broadway production. CLYDE'S, unfortunately, was a bit of a misstep. It's not a mess. It just misses important elements that made the original production so good and could easily be rectified here. CLYDE'S is about four ex-cons who, needing a job so as not to violate their parole, have taken work at a roadside sandwich shop under the abusive eye of the owner Clyde, played by Latonia Phipps. The team is led by Montrellous, played by Mikael Chenevert, an ex-con with a secret past who has found healing by dedicating his life to perfecting his craft on making the perfect sandwich. With him is Letitia, played by Ayanna Bria Bakari, another ex-con who is a single mother of a special needs child. Rafael, played by Samuel Maria Gomez, an ex-con recovering addict who is in love with Letitia and idolizes Montrellous. And lastly, Jason, played by David T. Patterson, the new guy who has just been released from prison, the sole white member of the team who comes in with white power gang tattoos on his face and a chip on his shoulder the size of the Titanic. The motley crew have to learn to work together while under the abusive eye of Clyde, who is less concerned about their productivity as she is about them being happy, which is the last thing she wants. This is where I think CLYDE'S goes sideways for me and doesn't work as well in this production. I think a lot of this may come down to interpretation of character. If Clyde is merely human, then TheaterWorks Hartford's production works as it is. Phipps's Clyde is vulnerable at times, expressing actual fear of the people she says she owes money to, and that, coupled with abuses she received earlier in her life, compels her to, in turn, abuse her employees. I think this is the wrong interpretation of the character. For me, Clyde is the devil and feeds on the misery of her employees. And if you know the biblical devil, the devil is first and foremost a liar, so nothing Clyde says should be trusted or taken as fact. Also, the devil is out to steal, kill, and destroy, which is Clyde's ultimate objective with her four employees. Recidivism is the goal. Getting them to go out and commit more sin, greater sins, is her goal. Taking all this into account, Clyde's character is quite simple and far more powerful and less fragile seeming than what Burke and Phipps have given us in this production. This isn't to say that Phipps is bad in the role. She is committed to every action she gives on stage. I just disagree with what some of those choices are. My other issue with this production of CLYDE'S is the sandwich making. I get what Burke is doing with the sandwiches being as simple looking as they are. Clyde doesn't want anything fancy in her restaurant and doesn't want creativity fostered in the kitchen with her staff. But with Montrellous being the wild card in the kitchen, inspiring the employees to do more and to take pride in their work, I would like to have had the sandwiches they make look a bit more refined. There's even a point in the show where the restaurant is given a rave review for their food, but nothing we see made in the kitchen reflects that kind of excellence. Where the production shines is with the quartet of the kitchen staff and their camaraderie. Chenevert's Montrellous is less sandwich zen master, as he is more of a proud father figure, which is a nice bit of characterization. It's a change I don't mind and kind of like. I also enjoy Bria Bakari and Maria Gomez's chemistry together with their would-be romance. There is something that happens with Rafael later in the show that I would have liked to have seen more lasting impact, but this is more of a critique of the book than the production. Patterson's interpretation of Jason is a touch too much. I'm angry at the world, so every line I say I'm going to yell for the first part of the play. I feel the conveyance of anger could have been less dependent on vocalization. His perpetual scowl that he has at the beginning goes a long way for that, and breaking up the volume of his voice would help in giving ebbs and flows of his emotions. I think Collette Pollard's set design is great. It feels like a literal Hell's Kitchen, where, from one perspective, everything is falling apart, but with the hope being fed into the kitchen by Montrellous, there are brilliantly clean elements in it as well. A cleanliness is next to godliness quality that breaks through the C grade hanging on the wall from the health inspector. I like CLYDE'S. It's a good play, and this isn't a bad production. I think most people who go and see it will come out of it at least entertained and inspired to some degree by its message of hope. The proverbial devil, though, is in the details, and I would have liked some of the details worked out a little bit more. But I am only one man's opinion, so be sure to leave yours in the comments below. If you'd like to see CLYDE'S, I'll leave a link in the description where you can get tickets. I'd like to thank my patrons on Patreon for their support and remind them to visit my Patreon page to enter for the drawing to join me as my +1 for The Cottage on Broadway on July 27th. You must be a Neo tier or higher to participate. Reply to my post about this on my Patreon page by 8 p.m. Eastern Time on July 21st to participate. You can also support my channel by liking, sharing, and subscribing, and click the notification bell to be alerted to future reviews. My next review will be Throne Stone's production of 7 Cousins for a Horse. Thank you for watching, and I will see you at the theater.